Welcome back. I will be going over the media page within DaVinci Resolve, and eventually we will get through all pages, but as for today, we were starting off with the very first one, and I would make this as easy and as simple and as fast as possible. So if you guys get to like and subscribe, it helps me out, it goes a long way, and with that, let's jump right in and not waste any time. Media is just literally from this little corner all the way down to here. It's just diagonal. That's all you're looking at. Don't look at this is OBS, but you're just going through here. So inside the media page, we're not going to mess with this top part at all. The only thing we may want to use is workspace and do reset UI. And that just allows you to reset your user interface, which makes sure that you're looking exactly at the same screen and layout as me. If you are on a laptop or a smaller than 27-inch monitor, it may look different. If you have Apples, it will have like a little notch and space out these words, but otherwise everyone else should look the exact same as me. So moving on, we have a couple different tabs. At the top right here, we have a little down arrow. You can expand this, and as you see, it brings it all the way across. I'm just unchecking and checking it back, and it's just minimizing this, and you'll see why that's a cool feature in the moment. You may or may not use it, but it is something neat to have. We have another down marker, which is right here. This just allows it to display, your master tracks and everything else. Then we have another one at the very end, which just allows this to go all the way down to the bottom. So those are your three downs. Over here, you have your media storage. If you uncheck this, it just gets rid of it, but this is where all of your media is pulled through inside of your media page. On the left side in here is your hard drive. If you have any external hard drives that are plugged in or multiple internal drives, just if you have a Windows computer, you may or may not have that, or older MacBook probably, they will all surface right here. This is just, you just click it, search through your hard drive, and you will find all of your files that you're used to, make your videos with. So all of them be literally right here. And you can choose to drag these files in if you want to, doing it this way. Or if you want to, you can import your media from your Finder if you're using MacBooks, or you can use your My Folder if you have a Windows 10 or Windows 11. It's the same thing. You would just literally go to wherever your folders are saved. You can select your image or videos, drag and drop it over. It'll pull a little plus sign over it. Once you release it, it will allow you to place that inside DaVinci Resolve, like so. I'm just going to delete this for now, but you kind of get the picture. You can dump in your footage from this left side, or you can choose to dump in your footage from the actual Finder. So this is all up to you. Moving on to the clone tool, you can use this if you look to clone a clip, but you don't have to. Over here, you have like your sorting methods. You can sort by file name, real type, basically anything that you can think of is just about in there. You can also choose to have it ascending or descending, just means up or down, depending on whatever you sorted it by. And you can choose your layout. So I like to have mine inside of tiles where I can just kind of see at a glance what I am, potentially working on. Or if you want to, you can do a list view where it shows you like your start time code, your ending, your resolutions, if I shot it in 4K or 1080p. You can also see your frames per second, like 29.9, which is 30, 59.9, which is 60 frames. You kind of get the gist of it all. Just got to go back to the tabs at the top. And again, if you ever make any mistakes, I will say it probably a couple times in the video, just hit the reset UI and you'll be good to go. In here is your search tab. So you can choose to search by whatever you would like. Let's just type in high. I probably don't have anything listed high, but it allows you to search through your video files and see what's available. And it's going to pull from this 2025 folder, as you can see right there. If I do click this and try to search, it will now search through this folder. So kind of get the picture. You do have some hamburger bars. I'm going to skip over some of the hamburger bars just because they don't necessarily matter. But I'll briefly talk over some of the tips just because they don't really matter. You're not going to use them a lot. I'll briefly talk over some of the tips. So if I am moving too fast, just kind of follow with me because a lot of these tips you will not actually use. I'm just feeding them to you so you can understand the page. But over here we have our hamburger bar, which allows you to do frame display mode. You can show your audio waveforms and everything else in between there. So it will isolate and pick up that. If you do have a different size screen, you can choose to make this smaller or larger, depending on your resolution. If you ever hit Z, just the letter Z on your keyboard, it will always reframe it back to your actual frame. And now it's locked to this. So if I make this larger, as you see, it starts to expand and shrink with it. So it's kind of cool. Again, I'm just going to reset my UI and now it's back to normal. On the top left, we have the audio. So if you go over to audio, if I have this selected, I can see my waveform, my meteor. So as I'm playing the video, you see that my waveforms are populating right there. I have my metadata, which is selected. So if I select this right here, any clip inside of here, or for instance, if I drag a clip into here, it will show me all of my metadata. Metadata just basically explains where the file came from, what type of file it is, how it's shot. So H2.64 is what this file is. It's in 48 kilohertz. Blah 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 blah. It's just all of your, meta. Just think of Facebook where it keeps all your data. This is basically that, but for video. And it's short data. So this will allow you to basically see where everything is going, and it plays a role when you're trying to relink your videos. And I will explain that a little bit later. Moving over to Inspector, you just want to select this. If you ever hit the clips, you can use Inspector. Now, inside of your tab, it's not going to allow you to really zoom in. As you see, it just goes black. So I'm going to hit reset on this one. But if I did drag a file in, for instance, I'm just starting with a new file, and I click on this, now I can see, let me get to a better clip. But now you can see I'm zooming in and out. If you ever want to reset that, you just hit reset. I will say I will not use any of the inspector tools on the media page simply because you will use that in the edit and the cut pages. But it is there for you. If you do want to capture any footage, bring it direct, or actually film it live inside of DaVinci Resolve, you can do that. You can just use a capture device. Right now I'm using my camera and microphone for this recording, but you can use a video capture device to input directly to it. Or you can use your film scanner if you do have a film scanner. I personally don't own one because why would you? But if you have the money for it, go for it. Let's go back to reset UI so you guys can see what I'm doing. You have a hamburger bar that's over here. You can choose to retain the embedded audio, which I have it selected off at the moment, or retain the video metadata. It basically keeps it as you render out your videos, but I would say you probably don't have to. So to recap, we just went from looking at your hard drives. This is where all your files are saved. This is inside the media storage, so make sure this is selected. You have your media where you can drag and drop this in here. And then of course you have on the right side your audio tab where you can see your audio, your metadata, and your inspector. These will highlight when you have a clip that's selected. If you don't have a clip selected, these will not surface for you. Now I'm going to delete this right here. Let's delete our clips and let's bring in one like so. So if I try to bring in a clip, it will automatically give me this prompt. I always hit don't change simply because it makes a big difference in terms of your production. So what I mean by that is if I bring in this clip right here and I go to change project frame rate, it is going to lock my entire project frame rate onto whatever frame rate I shot this film. Where this becomes an issue is because if you film something in, let's say, 60 frames per second and you want to make it a movie 24 frames per second, you cannot change this to a 24 frames per second afterwards. So I always like to hit don't change so that it's not locked into that, so that when I go into my edit page and I want to create a timeline, I can set these parameters and use if I just uncheck this right here, I can select this to actually be 24 or be 25 or be 60 or be 30 frames. I'd rather have that flexibility versus being locked to that project. So please, if you ever importing files, just remember, doesn't matter what it is, do not select change, leave it on don't change. And you can fix this all, literally, you're fixing it in post. So just keep that in mind. Moving down to where it shows the master. So master is just basically your main track for your media page. So this is where all of your media is stored to. If I bring in all these files right here, I'm just going to bring in random ones. It will all be inside of the master track. Now, this can get a little bit complex when you have different camera shots that you want to color grade, or different assets, presets. Once you start to add a lot of like audio tracks, music, it gets kind of wonky with trying to sort the names. So what I like to do is I actually create bins. If you just right click inside of the tab, it doesn't matter where you right click, but right click on the tab and select new bin. And this will give you the option to put new bin. So I could put audio. If I could spell audio, let's drag this into here. I'm gonna do a new bin and put video. You can just highlight over there, drag it in. Now, if you notice on the left side, it changes. It has the master track, which I can hit the arrow and minimize it, or I can tap this arrow and see audio or video. So it just allows you to organize it, and it becomes a lot better when you move over to like your edit page and you want to just pull video files. If you just want to pull audio files or just pull VFX and all this other stuff, it makes it a lot easier if you start off right in the media page and organize it correctly. You can still organize it in the edit page, but we won't talk about that as far as today. I'm just showing you the media, but please, if you think of DaVinci, it goes from left to right. So from media to delivery, you want to have all of this in order. I always make sure that I have my bins and everything organized because this makes the rest of your editing 10 times easier, especially when you have a lot of files. Now, if you just have 3 files, you probably don't care about creating a bin. It's a waste of your time. But once you get to me where I have tons of files, please make bins. I thought it was the dumbest thing in the world. I never want to use it, but it helped me out when I went back to project after 3-4 years. So please do that. So over here we have the option to relink media. If you hover over this, it does give you the option to do so. I think this is a nice, cool tool, but I wish they would have told us about it. If you do hit the relink, it will give you the option to locate your files. Obviously, it's showing that right now there's nothing missing inside of 2025. But if there was some files that were missing, I could relink it through there. Obviously, they have changed it in DaVinci also. It used to be down here. It would say something along the lines of like relink your media or relink media. And they've moved it now to clip operations in DaVinci Resolve 20. So if you cannot find your files for whatever reason, you're like, hey, I don't know what they did, I want to uninstall, I'm going back to Adobe, please do not do that because they moved it. I don't know why it's called clip operations. I hate the name of it, but it is a thing. So when I go to clip operations, I will see the exact same thing like I used to. Relink your selected clips, unlink clips if you want to, replace selected clips, and to change your source folder. To explain these a little bit more in depth, if you replace your selected clip, the only time you will ever have to do this is if you go into your actual hard drive. So let's say in my hard drive, which I'm looking at, again, this is hard drive, this is not DaVinci, this is DaVinci, this is your hard drive. If I change the actual name of the file, so better yet, if I go to like my Finder or your My Files, and let's say I change the name of a file, if I go back to DaVinci, it will literally light up like this. It'll show up the unlinked, media offline. It's not playing through. And if I want to add that file back, so it's the same file, same length, all I have to do is go back to my clip operations, go to replace selected clip, and you want to select your clip, the new name that you've changed it on. So it is not a feature that you would use all the time, but I have gone back inside of my own, video files and have changed different names. All of a sudden my DaVinci does not work. That's probably why. You're just replacing your selected clip with the same clip. It just has a different name. If you're relinking, you just find the exact same clip and it will just relink to wherever it's located now on your hard drive. If you want to unselect or unlink your files, you can do so. Not many times so I will, but I guess if you made a mistake by replacing the wrong clip, you could unlink that and then replace it with the right clip. And then you can choose to change your source folder, which is just where it's pulling from, but you're not going to use these a lot. While we're kind of on the topic of what's inside of your right click, you can choose to do a lot of different things like create timelines using your selected clips and bins, create multicam clips using your bins. You can do fusion composition. You can do so many more things like import your clips, recycle. I would just say if you want to dabble into all of this, wait until you get to your edit page and your cut pages because they matter a lot more in there than it does over here. You can like auto sync your audio and maybe do a few things like import in certain bins, but realistically, I would try my best to stay away from this and only use clip operations if you need to. And that's just right clicking on a clip for it to surface. If you right click in here, it won't show up anything, but I would only right click on clips and go from there where you can change the clip colors and stuff. But realistically, leave that only to edit and your cut pages. Down here we have like our keywords, which is inside of our Spark bins. It just allows you to have keywords for certain videos if you would like to. I'm not going to really dive into that. That's kind of like a separate video on its own. You also have collections, which DaVinci is pretty smart about. It will already basically pull apart your files. So if you have video clips, it'll show only video. If you do audio, it shows only audio. You kind of get the picture. Dialogue, music, effects, silence, uncategorized, which is all these things that are uncategorized. But these are just your collections to find it. So it's just using AI to kind of figure out, okay, you have how many video files? Let's make sure this is this or this is that. It's a quick way of finding whatever you're looking for. If you get too confused and didn't create bins, or if you just can't find them because you have so many files within your bins, that just kind of organizes it a little bit better. If we go over to our right side underneath here, we have the option to change a couple different viewpoints. So inside of here, we can go to metadata view. Metadata view just allows you to see your name of your file, the timestamps of it, and a little bit of a thumbnail as far as, a reference point with what you've shot or what footage you have on deck. If you go down to tiles, this is typically what is set by default. This is something I like to use and primarily only use inside of media page. And if you go over to here, you can do the layout of seeing everything that your file has. So like your resolution, your frames per second, how many audio channels, what type of audio codec, is it AAC or WAV? It just gives you all that different terminology for all the nerds that really care about it. It's all right there for us, for you, us, same thing, for us, whatever I just said. Over here, you can change the layout of your actual, I guess it's just kind of like your timeline media, if you want to call it that. I'll explain this a little bit further. So right now it's set to a single window. You can choose to have it inside of a dual window. You can choose to upgrade it to a, longitude versus latitude. And also you can choose to make this into 4. Now, this is something I don't use a lot just because it starts to get very complex. And truthfully, I don't care to do it. Now, if I'm working with a team, I may use this feature. And I may have, let's say I want to see what the files look like separated. So I want to know what the names are and also what this is. Or I want to just see what type of frame rates I'm working with. If you're used to Adobe After Effects, this may be more familiar with your clips. So if you just want to get used to that, you can, but realistically, this is not a feature that you will use. I would say 9 times out of 10, you're going to avoid that feature, but it is there. I honestly never use it, so I'm just being honest with you guys. I'm not gonna lie to you and say that I'm using a feature that you have to use, but it is there for you guys. You also have the option to search for files. Now, I like to just hit this right arrow, and you just want to left click on the arrow and select all bins instead of selected bins. If you have it in selected bins, it's only going to search within the bins. Now, our bins, again, to remind you, I created one that's audio and I created one that's video. So if I select this, it's only going to search in this video bin, which is right here. If I go to all bins, it would now search across all bins within the entire master track. So just keep in mind, I like to always have mine set to all. If you're looking for something, it makes more sense to search for it directly as a true search. I wish it was on all bins by default, but for whatever reason, it's not. So it is there for you. You can also choose to sort your files by name, your real name, time that you shot it, how many takes it was, your clip colors, your file paths. All of your sorting features are literally right here. Then you have another hamburger bar, which just allows you to show like audio waveforms, non-rectified waveforms. You can do your import logs, a lot of cool stuff that you may or may not need. Now, I just leave mine on default settings because I never ever care to look at that, but it is there for you. And then last but not least, I will show you this final thing. You do have a playhead that is on your viewers. So whether you're in the source files where you're trying to pull your media, or if you're just seeing your regular files right here, you could use your playhead. For instance, if I click this file right here and I press the space bar, it will play. If I press, forwards back, my arrow keys, I can change which file I'm using. If I go over to here, I can actually do the fast forward. So let's click this. Let's fast forward. It's going to skip to the very end. If I go to the back, it'll skip to the very back. And then, of course, if you want to keep looping it, you can hold down this loop, left click it. You can press play. If you guys liked the video, and I'll see you on the next one. See ya. All right, y'all. So this is a Zotac, and it will loop like that. So there you have it. This is just kind of a playhead for you. You can choose to mute the track if you just want to mute it. You can also choose to add in keyframes if you would like to. You kind of scoot through. I'm just left clicking inside of here and scraping the footage or scrubbing the footage. You also have the option to see like your source or your audio track or annotations. Now, I leave mine typically inside of source. If you just want to see, or you only want to see the audio track, you can select it to audio where you can just see that waveform. If you have annotations on your source file, you could do that. You can just draw, whatever you would like to. You place a marker. You can highlight this. You can write a different name or whatever you want to do on here. These are just your annotations. I don't actually use these. I'm just going to hit Control Z, but it is there for those that would like to use it. Now, the final thing inside the media page is this right here. So I'm just going to select my clip. And let's go over to this at the very top. We have options to see like your live media preview. You have your show video frames. You can select a lot of different things. I honestly never touch this feature just because I'm not using media page for this reason. But I do like the option to actually have the audio waveforms, which shows right here. You can choose to have them zoomed in where you can see really close. So as you scrub through, you'll see your footage. Let's go back to this right here, make it a little bit larger. You have the option to go to like your previous clip, your marker overlays, all of that good stuff is all right here. You can also choose to select if you prefer to see your camera originals, which are just your original files. If you did generate proxies, you can generate your proxies and have them here. If you want to disable all proxies, if you have those and don't want to use them anymore, you can choose to disable from there. So it just allows you to kind of have more of a customized interface that you would like to use for your preferences, not mine, but literally for you. If you don't know what proxies are, I can do a video on that and explain what they are. It's more important for those that have very big video file sizes. You're just creating a smaller footprint for it to look through and edit off of. So it is there, but Not many people are going to use it, but that's pretty much a quick rundown of this media page. Now, I will preference with media the main thing that I use. So let's just say I have all my files I brought in. I was working on a project. I'm just going to go at the very top and use reset UI. It's just going to reset, keep everything back to how it was. And I am literally only using the media page, me personally, for all of my channel and for everything I do. I'm just dragging and dropping the file, literally dragging it in. That's it. Dragging a file in. I just select this, drag another file, and I just go right over to edit page. Like, that is all I use the media page for. The reason why is because I believe that DaVinci is designed in a way that allows you to not destroy your project. And I'll explain that a little bit further. So typically inside of Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro, you have everything placed inside of one file. So let's just go to our edit page to show you. So you have everything inside of here. There is no media page. It's all right here, unless they've changed it since I've worked with them. But the problem with that is if I start to delete files from here and here and here, they go away. Like you lose so much of your hard work. Or if you make the mistake, you hit the wrong key command on your keyboard, it destroys and wipes out your timeline. So let's say I have files that are on here, right, like so. If I go and I actually delete a file, let's just say, let's delete this. Now it pops up red. So you're like, oh crap, what did I do wrong? I didn't understand what happened. You may not remember to press Control Z. Anything you do on the edit page, you start going into more of a dangerous territory. So with the media page, it just allows you to just drag and drop your files in, and then you just simply move over to the other pages. That is all I use media for. People can come up with some fancy, cool stuff to do inside of the media page, but honestly, you're not editing. It's just bringing your footage in and seeing what your footage looks like, or talking back to an editor or talking back to a director, letting them know what file types you have. It just gives you all of your information that you're not going to use for the most part when you get to the edit page, unless you're working with a team. I never use media page for anything else other than dragging and dropping my footage. And remember, you can drag and drop through here from your hard drives, or you can choose to hit Finder or your My Folder on your Windows device and drag a file in through there. It doesn't matter if it's pictures, Photoshop files. Now they accept. You could do your video files, your audio, your VFX. I just use this simply to drag and drop. I will stress this again, simply to drag and drop and leave it alone. That is all this page is for. So hopefully this has really helped you guys out with all this footage and explanations and da. Like, I can go on for days about this page, but this is just the quickest rundown I can give you guys. I hope this makes sense for you. If it does not make any sense with all that I've said, please don't hesitate to send me a question. Let me know what you guys are thinking, what's your thoughts, what are your, what can you not figure out. I would do my best to try to process that and make a video for you, or type back in the comment section if it's just that simple, to respond back to you. And with that, I will let you guys go. I hope you have a blessed day, and I will see you on the next video.